Hi there. Welcome to Artfest Ontario live online event. I'm Laurie McDonald from Artfest Ontario, and I'm your host today. So we are live here on Facebook and on Zoom, so welcome. I don't know if you've been here for other 3 days. You've been having a lot of fun. At least I have anyway. I hope you've been enjoying it. It's a rainy day here in Ottawa, where we are live streaming from our studio here. Not sure if it's raining where you are. I heard it was in Toronto a little bit too. But thanks for joining us today. And I know, as I said before, I know your time is precious, and there's lots of things you can be doing today, but I really appreciate you spending it with us. It's just great. And today's show, we're going to be talking about the artists again, featuring some artists. We've got kids activity, a new kids activity today. And today's feature artist is Miko Henry, and she makes beautiful handmade children's clothing. So her and I did an interview, and we'll be playing that. And we'll have some fun, and I'll take a little bit tour. So to start off, I'm gonna take us on a little bit of a tour of the Distillery District. Just hang on here, I'm just gonna share my screen. So as you know, normally we'd be here at the Distillery District, all set up. It would be day 3. And at the show, the place is just filling up with people. And this is Paul Brodie, one of our exhibitors. Beautiful, beautiful handmade coats and boots. I've actually got a pair of their boots, which I just love. They're sort of like Bloodstones in a way. They're really comfy and great. Here's some nice art here. That's Sue Caron. Beautiful paintings. And they wish they could be there with us today. There's Judy. Hi, Jude. Having a cup of tea. And just walking around. So you can see the Distillery District is, I don't know if you've been there before, but it's a beautiful restored Victorian era site that was slated for demolition and was sitting basically vacant for years. And I think there was 6 partners initially, got together and bought the property and completely transformed it. And actually they brought in that cobblestone brick and for the whole Distillery District. I think it came from New Orleans, actually, believe it or not. It was trucked all the way up here and put in place. Gives it a really nice charm when you're walking around and all the cobblestone lanes and the little pathways and stuff. Here's Alex Krajewski. Here's an example of a great, way artists can make the displays look fantastic, working within the site that we actually have. Sometimes there's anomalies, like there's a giant sculpture sitting right there, kind of in the way for our show, but we work around it and make it all look great. Beautiful pottery, arabesque pottery, really, really nice work. Sculpts, I don't know if you can see the sculptures in the back there, but really, really nice things. So I just wanted to, whoops, let me just stop this one here. Hang on. Just want to talk a little bit about display, because artists, get your product all ready. You're going to book a show, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh yeah, what am I going to use for a booth and a display? And a lot of planning goes into that, trust me. And lots of versions of it, morphing over time. You do it once, you figure out what worked, what didn't, then you're always changing. It's always, a work in progress, really. I've built many booths over the years myself, and I know the deal. But one of the key elements to think about when you are designing your booths, when artists do design them, is you basically have a set footprint of a 10 by 10 booth. And you have to have a tent. Some of the artists do have their own tents, some rent. There's all kinds of different qualities of tents, right from, you know, you can get them cheap at like, you know, for $120, right to spending, you know, a couple $1,000s. The better the tent, you know, the more better quality, the better it is for you as an artist and at the show. Better quality tents they're actually 100% waterproof. The cheaper tents aren't waterproof, they're kind of water resistant. So if you get a heavy downpour, you are going to get wet and your product could get damaged. So that's what you always have to keep in mind too, is, you know, keeping your product safe. And also for your customers, you want them to be comfortable in your tent. You don't want to be in there, then have them in there with you and then all of a sudden water pouring in on them or anything. But and then you can get lots of neat add-ons too. So you can get skylights in your tent in the ceiling. You can add lighting in. You can have awnings in your attached to your tent, so that if you're in a 10 by 10 space, you can be outside in your display, and your customers can be, you know, comfortable if it's raining, or if it's, you know, really sunny, hot sunny day, you want to protect your product and as well. So there's all kinds of nice options there. And so the artists have quite a choice. One of our partners that we work with that provides tents is oh my God, I'm telling you, it'll come to my mind in a second what it's called. Okay, so but you basically have a 10 by 10 space, and you got to make the most of it. So I always, you know, try to encourage artists to build their displays so that they have things, you know, right from the floor up. If you're walking through a show and it's crowded and you have lots of people in front of you, you know, you can't always see things. So you want to make sure you've got, you know, things up high, things on the edges, things out down low. So you've got a really nice, robust. You may not sell a lot of stuff off the bottom, lower part of your display, but it just really enriches the whole presentation and the experience for the people viewing your booth. So, you know, I know that sometimes people are going to bend over and grab something low, but some people do. And but I would recommend using, you know, that's a nice way to do it. And also be having in mind that, you know, if you're having something that's like a textile or something that's something very tactile, and you want people to touch and feel the fabric, you know, put something right at the front of your booth, so where they can walk by, they can touch it, and then right away they'll be drawn into your booth. If you have things like, you know, glass, or maybe they're a little bit more fragile, and you have to keep that in mind too. So you know, maybe have that in mind. You don't want people bumping into things in your display, so you have to put your stuff in a different style of a booth. So you'll see tons of different booth designs as you walk around shows, and it's kind of fun just to, if you can kind of keep that in mind when you're walking around. I know sometimes you're just thinking about seeing the products and everything, but start noticing the displays, because the artists do some pretty cool things, and they've been very, very inventive with some of the designs they've done and things. Like, I know I mentioned Paul Brodie in the Ville, his booth there. So they've got a really heavy product. I'm just going to I'll share the screen again one more time here. Just show you some of the stuff that they have. So they've got, you know, really heavy duty coats. They've got all their footwear. They've got blankets. So Paul built this amazing cart. It was like a golf cart, and it was all welded together, stainless steel, heavy duty. And he has big rungs. I don't have a picture of big rungs on it. So he can hang all of his big garment bags. So he doesn't have to lug them in. He drives to his truck, loads up his golf cart with all these things, and then just slowly drives it to his booth and loads it. It's a genius. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. It's pretty funny. But you can shop with it. Everything's made in Canada. You know, beautiful boots and coats. I encourage you to go to our website again, and you can go to his blog post, the artfestontario.com website, and find him there. But I did. So just about the tents, the tent we have a partner that we work with. It's called Surf and Turf. What did I know? We're forgetting now. Just a second here. So I think it's Surf and Turf. Sorry, geez. Surf and Turf. And so Mark there has a great selection of tents, really good quality, made in Canada, guaranteed, 100% waterproof. If anybody's looking for a tent, I would definitely check him out. He's a part of our Artist Advantage membership program, which one day I'll talk about that too. So apparently we've got Mark Cooper watching on our show, and I just wanted to show again something we've been talking about here about needing to protect ourselves at this time, and with the masks for the so we'll go here for a second here, and you can see here the Ashford twist. Now Mark and Sheila have put together a great promotion here. They've changed their business for right now during the show. I mean, not during the show, but during this time, and shifted gears and started making masks. Beautiful handmade masks, lots of colors. Guys wear them too. You see that. But go to their website. If you go on our website, go to the website, the Ashford Twist. You can actually use promo code. Use the word Artfest, and you get a 25% discount, which is pretty great. Thanks, Mark, for doing that for our customers and our clients here. So just go to the Ashford Twist, and you use the code Artfest to get your discount. So today we're going to be featuring, like I mentioned, I'm going to turn off my music for a second. Lil Tree Me. So I'm just going to bring up our interview here and play it for you. Here we go. Audio share. Here we go here. So I hope you can hear this okay. I'm going to start our little show here about our interview with artist Miko Henry and Lil Tree Me.
Thanks for joining me on the Artfest Ontario audio chat. I'm here with artist and designer Miko Henry from Lil Tree Me. So welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Thanks, Lori. How are you?
Good. Looking forward to this chat. I love your products for children, and they're so cute.
Thank you.
I really like your business name, too, Lil Tree Me, and I was wondering, where does that name come from?
Well, it was inspired actually by my husband's grandmother, who could not pronounce my daughter's name. Her name is Sequoia, and she had a hard time enunciating, for whatever reason, the syllables in her name, so she always coined her Little Tree. And so my business, was born shortly after she was, and so I named it after her. So it's Lil Tree Me.
No,
my daughter Sequoia and myself.
Yeah, thanks. So I know you have quite a few products, but I really like your dolls are so cute, and I noticed that they have great expressions on their faces, and they kind of have their own little personalities.
Yeah.
How does that happen? How does that happen when you're making a doll?
Well, that's a good question, because the dolls are probably my preferred thing to make for that very reason, that each one of them is their own unique character. I try not to ever duplicate them unless somebody specifically asks for one, then I'll do it. But other than that, it's all about kind of instilling an individual personality in each one. And I kind of get inspired by the fabrics, by, characters that my daughter imagines that I try to transform into a doll, or that there's also people in history like Frida Kahlo, who I'm a huge fan of, who I just felt drawn to making a replica doll of her. And then various other, just inspired by reality too, by people that I know who I kind of turn into a doll. Or so there's lots of kind of places that I draw my creative inspiration from when it comes to the dolls.
Yeah, and I see like the faces, are they embroidered on or painted, or how are they applied for the faces?
I embroider the dolls that are intended for children. I do by hand with embroidery thread, and then I use chalk for the cheeks, and then with the art dolls, I do the embroidery with a machine.
Okay.
Yeah, and as far as the expressions go, like initially I was making them all happy. Every one of them had a happy face on it, right? But then I kind of felt that in some ways when the child or some adults buy my dolls too, it was kind of conditioning the expression or whatever, that it would kind of control the play somewhat. Whereas if I made the expression more neutral, then they could kind of be whatever mood the kid wanted them to be. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of a kind of a Waldorf mentality where you don't instill the play, but the kid decides and navigates, who they want the doll to be. So that was part of the expression on them anyway.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So would you do you have a favorite?
Frida, for sure. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a little bit of an obsession with Frida. And for me, art is very therapeutic as well. And so Frida Kahlo, to me, her art speaks really profoundly to life experience and to pain and overcoming difficulty in life. And she's just, so to me, when I make one of the Frida dolls, it's kind of like it's a form of therapy for me. And it sounds kind of weird, but sometimes I'm not that strong at articulating myself with words. So when I use my hands and when I use people that I respect and as a form of inspiration, I find it helps me.
Yeah, well, she's a big hero to many, many people, so I think that she's a good inspiration for sure. Yeah. So I also noticed, the dolls are really well made and they look really durable, and it looks like the way you design the head and the body parts is original, and it's brilliant, really, because the pieces are all kind of integrated into one. And how did that process evolve?
Well, when I first started making them, I got a general pattern, right? I got this book, I think it's called We Make Dolls, and it was all different doll makers around the world. And I kind of just honed in on one doll that I kind of liked the basic composition of it. It was a Little Red Riding Hood doll. And from there, I took that basic template and I made my own variations on it. So I just I would change the type of hood, I would change, and to now it's a completely different doll, right? But where it kind of started with a basic pattern, as I do with most of my art, I'll start with something where I get inspired by oftentimes somebody else's art, and then I take a quotient of it to provide me with some ideas, and then I make it my own. I change it completely, so then it just becomes my own expression. But oftentimes, I draw.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like with the way the heads are, the heads and the hair and the hat and everything all are integrated together. I think it's a really great design, especially when you're dealing with kids too, because it's safe, right? You don't have to worry about the parts falling off or losing.
Exactly.
Yes, and I know making dolls is a huge amount of work and a labor of love. And I was just wondering, how do you keep your material costs down? I think you have to work some way to keep your costs down because your labor is so involved. Yeah.
So what I've done is progressively gone more and more into upcycling fabrics. So I'm a minimalist at heart, but I also love to thrift. I love to thrift. I love to go to yard sales. I love to create treasure from people's trash, essentially, right? So I will go out and salvage what I can. I find beautiful fabrics for low cost that have already been used, and I combine them sometimes with new fabrics that I am drawn to the print, and I use small parts of it versus using a whole, yardage of new fabric. I'll use just, a fat quarter, and then I'll combine it with a bunch of different upcycled fabrics. And so that's one thing I try to get as much as possible. Vintage buttons, I even upcycle my stuffing, so I'll take old pillows and I wash them and I use it again, just as a way of being more ethical about it, reducing waste, and also reusing beautiful fabrics that otherwise would just, end up in the dump. So
yeah, because that's a big thing right now in people's minds too. Because I remember reading an article a while ago, and it just commented on how many thousands of tons of used clothing go to the dump. I didn't ever think about that, right? It's like, wow, that's a lot.
It's
a lot of it's a lot of it's a nice piece of it too, because sometimes I guess do customers ever ask you to say, oh, I have this favorite dress, can you incorporate it into my doll that I had, like you're making for me plus an order?
Yeah, and I love doing that. Like the whole concept of there's these two women I'm thinking in particular that have kind of been repeat customers of mine who I adore because of their enthusiasm for my dolls and also their love of the vintage fabric. So they've taken me their grandma's old fabric and asked me to, create a doll however I see fit. They don't control the creative process, but they want fabric that has some sort of nostalgic
memory
link to their past.
It's a great thing.
For sure.
Yeah, really special. Yeah. So you mentioned you have a spring special on right now for customers. And can you tell me a little bit about that? So when they do buy a doll or buy.
Well, for the spring, I've started to make a line of Mama and Me dolls where they're a little bit larger than the ones I started making, the standard size, and they have a pocket in the front that carries a little baby with them. And so I'm offering for the first 3 purchases, you get a free baby thrown in. And you can you can pick and choose from the different fabrics that I have, and I'll custom make you a baby doll.
Well, that's a nice add-on for sure. Customers will love that. Yeah, so also you would tell me a little bit about the clothing line that you've designed. I know that you're multi-talented, and I know buying designer clothing for kids might seem a bit extravagant for some, but I see that your clothing actually grows with your child.
Yeah,
that's an amazing feature to know if I'm going to buy something for my grandchild or my daughter.
Right.
So that it can last for a long time.
Yeah, and that was kind of a part of it going into it was I come at it from an artistic as well as from a perspective of a mother, right? So practically to invest in handmade clothing, which can be quite expensive, and your kids are growing at such a rate that it's going to, the turnover is going to be okay, they're going to wear it for 1 year. So I had to find a way, and they're really rough with clothes, hence the reversible thing, right? So I was thinking if they trash one side of it, you take the buttons off and you flip it to the other side, right? Or you get bored of one side, you turn it over and you got something else. And a way that it can start off as a dress, and then as they get older, it becomes a shirt. And it can be worn all seasons. You can put shirts underneath it in the colder weather, and it's like a smock, right? And then when it's the nicer weather, it can just be worn as is. And the same with the capes. They start off long, around the calf length, and then as they grow older, it's at their waist. So it's something that'll last for years versus months.
Yeah, and always stylish, which is important.
Yeah, well,
right? Yeah, so I guess that comes in when you're talking about with all your clothing being reversible, which I think is so neat. Like, it's so versatile. So wear it once, gets dirty, flip it over, wear it again.
Yeah.
Kind of you get basically 2 outfits in one because you can, change the patterns are different on each side. Isn't that true? The patterns are different.
Yeah.
And how do you come up with the different designs, like one side, and then the other side?
What I get inspired kind of like, I call it my feature fabric, is the one that'll go oftentimes in the center of the dress or the cape. And then, so what I would do is that there's a squirrel on it. And then I would take that squirrel, I would do a drawing and then carve out of acetate that squirrel and using screen printing ink and a screen, do a block print of it. And so that would be one side with broadcloth and the screen print. And then when you flip it over, you've got a fabric that has the pattern that emulates that screen print. Some of them have that, and other ones are just combinations of different panels on that are different on the reverse.
Okay. So you have you have all your drawing skills in there too. I know. And I mean, screen printing is a whole other process.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty involved, and that's it. I've started to kind of experiment with different printing processes. I don't like to use the chemicals, so I'm trying some lino cut printing now, and just trying to find different ways to invest some artistry in the clothing, so they're not just, they can't be copied. It's something that's literally from my hand and one of a kind, so therefore no other kid will have it, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's pretty special. I mean, when you're printing, you're using like an acrylic, like a fabric paint, right? That's actually bedded right into on the surface of the fabric, so you wash it and it's durable and safe. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So you also have clothing for adults. I love it.
I do. Yeah, this is brand new. This has come from just mom shopping and asking, I would wear this. Like, if this was in my size, I would totally wear this. And I was like, you know what? I started making it for my friends and I, and then I thought, why not? To make it a lot of times. Certain mothers like to match their kids, so you can have like a coordinated outfit with your child, or if that's not your thing, you can just, or even if you're not a mother, it's not necessarily just for that demographic. It can be for any woman that wants to wear kind of clothing that's not fitted, it's loose, it's comfortable, it's kind of, one size fits all, and it has the component of reversibility and just being one of a kind. And and the same as the children's, where you can wear it in cold weather or you can wear it when it's hot out kind of thing. And
yeah, I mean, they look super comfortable and really wearable. I guess, I mean, they're not really designed to kind of grow with us like kids. We don't want to
not
grow
so
out
much.
or grow in,
No,
whatever,
no.
but still, the versatility of it. You know, you can wear it like with a tunic with a underneath, and in summer it looks really comfy too. I mean, you look great in them. I saw your pictures. It's so cute, like with you and your daughter.
Thank you.
I know when I was a kid, my mom made us a mother-daughter outfit one time. Oh my God, I loved it. I was like on the moon. And then every time I wanted to wear it with her, she was like, mine's dirty. And I was like, how come I didn't even see you wear it? But she said that she felt kind of embarrassed the way you made it open. Yeah. Like we like a little Aussie twins, right? But, I know there's ways to coordinate with each other that would be really sweet. So yeah, that's great. So so are these items are new? So they come in a variety of sizes for women. I guess is it mainly women's? Is it you don't have things for men, do you? Or
not so much. No,
not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, I haven't quite found the niche when it comes to like I've kind of tried to promote the clothes for boys as well. I certainly make gender neutral colors for the most part, but for whatever reason, it seems to be a lot easier to sell to girls.
Yeah, because we always want to look fabulous. That's why.
I guess, right? I'm not sure. Yeah.
So in your career, so what is the craziest outfit you've ever made? Just being out of fun or whatever.
I was in a wearable fashion show where I made a dress inspired by peacocks. Where it was like it was a ballet style dress, so like the tutu flared out, and then I attached full length peacock feathers to the skirt, and then I wore on my back. I was the model for it. I wore on my back a wire caged, kind of almost like wingspan, right? And I attached all the feathers to that, and then I had a peacock feather headdress. So that would probably be the most.
Oh my God!
Out there
amazing.
that comes to mind. Yeah.
Yeah, that must have been quite a bit of work.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds amazing though. Is that your background? Like, do you have a background in design and fashion and
visual art?
So passionate about.
Yeah, no, I studied visual arts at the University of Ottawa. So my background was more in painting and sculpture and in things that I soon found out weren't so practical or easy to access as far as making a living from it. So I had to find a way to stay true to wanting to be an artist, but at the same time make a product that was practical to promote to the outside world. It's a lot easier to market clothing than it is sculpture.
And a peacock dress.
Yeah. So I maintain those practices in my life, but as far as putting myself out there, it's with the dolls and the clothes that I
well, I'm glad you did, because your product is just amazing, and we just love it at Artfest. And we really appreciate you being part of our Artfest family and being in our shows. I mean, I know we're not, able to be in there in person today, this weekend coming up, but I'm really happy to be participating in our online event, which I'm hoping that lots of people are going to be part of. And people can find your website at, what is your website again?
It's www.littletreeandme.com. So it's LIL Tree and Me.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time today and sharing your insights and on everything about Little Tree and Me. And look forward to seeing you again in person, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Miko. Take care.
Thank you. All right. Bye.
There we go. That was my interview with Miko Henry, all about her kids' clothing. So, just in case you didn't catch her website, it's Lil Tree and Me.com. LilTree.me.com. LittleTreeandMe.com. Thanks, Miko, for that. So, next we have up. I wanted to tell you a little bit about Reiners. Reiners makes leather Ottomans, which is kind of makes an odd, but they're amazing. They're all animal shapes, and they've got pigs and moose and bulldogs and all kinds of things. So I'm just gonna go just show you over here. I'm gonna share the screen for a second again. here. So these actually are made of 100% leather. And again, they're made, it's a family business, and they're made, I think they're over in the Waterloo area. I'm not quite sure actually where they're exactly from. But you can actually sit on these animals. And they're rock solid. So when you see them, you think they might just be for kids, but they're not. They easily handle a full-size adult. So I think you may have seen them in one of our videos I showed the other day. But I also wanted to tell you a little bit about the story, because their dad, I'm just going to bring up a picture here. Their dad started this business. It's like many years ago. I don't know if anybody remembers the character called Ukpik. It was a symbol of Canada and the Inuit symbol for many years, and it became the mascot at the 1967 Olympics in Montreal. So, and that's when this whole business kind of changed from, I think originally they were furniture making, and got into this thing, and they supplied all the Ukpik characters and little dolls for the Olympics. So that's kind of a neat little story. This is a book I have, Ukpik, the ogling Arctic owl. I've had this, you can tell I've had this book for a long time. It was when we had it when we were kids. Somehow I still have it. I don't know, I guess I'm a bit of a pack rat, but, or maybe I just like collecting neat things, but Reiners. So Reiners has a discount on right now as well, a special. So you can actually, if you go to their store, and don't forget, I'll show you how to go to the stores in a minute, but there's a promo code, and it's basically checkout 40. So it's CHC0 out OU240, and we'll put that up on our Facebook page. Maybe I'll do that. So yeah, you get a discount there. So you can just go do that. But I was going to show you here how to go onto our website and do a little tour. So if you want to shop today, you can do that. It's pretty easy. Here we are on the Artfest website. So there's two ways you can shop on our website. It's artfestontario.com. And I encourage you to go maybe open another tab on your computer so you can follow along, or just watch me if you want here online. So we have a couple things. Here we have our artists that are featured in our event. And each one of them has their own tab, their own store actually inside of our Artfest store. These are all the artists that would have been at the show. Some of the artists don't actually have their own websites. So we've actually built them for them in here, or they also wanted to be part of the festival, so they wanted to have a feature on the website. You can see this beautiful work here. You can go out and check. Just going to do a bit of a refresh here. My page. I'll give you a bit of an overview. I built this page this morning here. So this is a bit of an overview of all the different artists that we're featuring on our website. And you just have to click on any of these pictures, and you can go right to their webpage. So here's Selena. We did a little feature about her a couple days ago. And then you can find information there's also information on our blog if you want to get more detail about them. There's some stories and more photos. And you can also go to the Artfest Toronto tab, and you'll see down here, May exhibitors. And this is all the artists that are in our event. And you can scroll down here and see lots of options. There's Miko there. Looking at things, scroll down, and all of these pages lead to our blog, which is a very active blog on Artfest Ontario. Go there, you can read about the stories, find out the background about the artists, and there's also links to their websites there, so you can shop directly on their website. Is Alex Krajewski Gallery, which we saw earlier today. Amazing what Alex does with his work. you know, works with photography, and then works as well with adding and drawing and embellishing layers and layers on top of that art piece, and creates a scene. You know, he's really good at creating these textures, and he really loves historic buildings and stories. So this one's kind of neat. This was general story. It's almost like what he's got this general story, then he's put like a ghost image of a truck, sort of, you know, talking about memories from long ago and how things used to be. Here's Massey Hall, great image there, old picture, man just walking with plans. And his wife Anna is a beautiful painter, does watercolor painting and acrylic. So she's got really lovely work too. So that's the Krajewski Gallery and studio there. So as always, each day I like to show, I'm just gonna stop my share here for a second. I like to talk about the kids, because the kids are a big part of Artfest, and we have a new activity today that Sabrina has created for them. And I'm just gonna start that up here. Just go to full screen here. And somehow I've got videos. Okay, hang on, I'll share this with you. Here's our screen, whoops. Here we go, kids. So Sabrina's put these activities together every day, a new one for each day of the show. Fun things. Kids, you know, people can grab stuff from outside or around the yard, simple stuff. You don't have to go spend a lot of money on art supplies, or just kind of find something outside and add to it. I'm sure that anybody who tries this will find some more fun, interesting things to add. And you can add feathers, you can add shells, you can add whatever you want. So lots of fun. Thank you for Sabrina for that. So if you go to the artfestontario.com website, and you can click under the Toronto tab, you'll see Artfest Kids Toronto, and you'll find the videos there. We post them there each day, and that way you can use them whenever you want. You know, you don't have to do it right now, because we want you here with us right now. So hopefully you'll be able to check out some of the shopping and try some online sales experience with artfestontario.com. As you know, the artists aren't at our show this weekend in person. We're all at home in our studios or in our homes somewhere. Again, not necessarily, I guess, at home, but we're not at the Distillery District. That's what I'm trying to say. So we can't be there. It's so sad, you know. Well, the artists have been worked so hard to get their work ready for the event, and now we've had to postpone it. So I'm curious what your experience is with if you've ever bought anything from Artfest Ontario. Let me just see here. What have I got? I've got a question here. Well, here's one. I'm just going to do a little poll. How many of you have been on the Artfest Ontario website? So I'm curious to see how many viewers today have been on our website looking around. If you have any questions, please reach out, ask. We don't want to put any barriers up for people shopping and buying things. So I know it's a bit different than being there in person, but you know, we'll adjust. So here we go. Here's the poll. I'm just going to launch that. So just let me know if you've ever actually bought anything. If you've actually been on the Artfest Ontario website.com. I'd like to hear from people. Well, the answers are coming in. Thanks for that. I'll let it run for another minute before we go on to our next activity. I'll just get it all set up here. Well, everybody on here, wow, that's amazing. Everybody on here in the poll today has actually been to Artfest Ontario. That's great. Thank you for going to our website. And I hope you have more of you check it out. Thanks for sharing that. I appreciate that. Good things to know. Okay, I'm just gonna close that down. Okay, so we're gonna talk about Christine Rayam right now, and she's Go With The Flow Fluid Art Studio. So she's doing a really interesting thing. She's taken an idea, which is kind of fairly new in the art world with the fluid acrylics. We looked at Celino Melo, what she's doing with fluid acrylics. But what if you take fluid acrylic painting and combine it with another craft? So this is what she's done. So I'll just take you over to her profile. I love what she's doing here. Here she is here. So what she's done is she's combined wood, beautiful handmade wood products, with the fluid acrylic on there. Lovely, lovely idea. Totally original. I love the fact that she's, kept her color scheme as a theme, and has created a beautiful collection of items. And you can actually go here. She has a special on right now as well. You have 10% off anything in her store. I think it is. But here she is. These are all of her products at her website. You can go here and shop. Beautiful, beautiful things. The other thing that she has here, which I like, is it's going to show before going here. I was at the bottom. Just trying to remember here. Here it is here. She has workshops and do-it-yourself kits. So that's a nice feature. If anybody wants to try this out, she's got a nice kit you can buy and try and experiment. If you have a piece of wood at home or you want to try it on canvas. So I encourage you to go to her website and have a look around there. So that's at gowiththeflowartstudio.com. Stop her share here. And back. And so, when we talked about this, having a theme about display a little bit today, and I was just thinking about, when we did set up the show, design the shows, and what products go where. And one of them is an interesting one, is with artists that make glass. You think artists want to have lots of light for the glass to really show it off. But one of the problems is if you put a booth right in the direct sunlight, and that sun is beaming down on that glass, it turns into like a furnace. You can't even pick it up or touch it. So it's one of the things you have to be careful about. So whenever I have a glass artist, I have to find just the right spot for them so that their glass is showing off beautifully with lots of light, but not in the direct sun. And with Lukian Glass, I'm just going to take you over to their little video here. Lukian Glass is where we have Ron and Gail. They do all of our shows too. I'm going to start this little video here. Here we go. So Ron actually blows the glass and Gail does the hand painting. It's unbelievable, the detail in these pieces. Just love their work. You can see those are all hand painted, but it's a little tiny brush that Gail does. These pieces here are part of the glass blowing process. Those aren't hand painted, these perfume bottles. Just try to get stop here. Stop. And this will take you over to their page to find it here. Lukian Glass, here we go. This is on the Artfest Ontario blog page. So you can see here the kind of detail that Gail does. And she's a storyteller as well. I mean, all of her hand painted glassware is really little stories, and some of them are, you know, childlike, and there's just fairies and little girls and beautiful flowers. And they have a huge following of collectors. So you can see here, look at this one. Love this. They're also, Gail and Alfie, they're also big fishermen. Like, they love going fishing. And I'm not sure if this is what inspired this piece, but I can imagine it might. They live in out in the Quebec area, and originally they're from the East Coast. And we were out there when we went out. Al and I went there on a little trip. They gave us all kinds of tips on where to go and artists to visit and things to see. So just beautiful, beautiful work here. Lots of detail. So they have a huge following of collectors that come to the show every year to buy their work. And so, and they don't do a lot of shows. They don't do a ton of shows anymore. It's too much. They do the one-of-a-kind show, they do a few other ones, but the Distillery District has been a great spot for them to sell their work. People come down to that show planning on shopping and buying work from them. And I know that some of them might be watching the show today. I hope you are. But just because we're not there doesn't mean you can't go and onto their website and have a look around and see what you might want to buy. Add to your collection one of their new pieces. I hope you do that. So next up, you know, we talked a little bit about food, not too much, but some people always ask me, you know, why do you have food at an art festival? And I have food at an art festival because people love food, and gourmet food producers are artists themselves. They work with a different medium. They work with food. They do magic with what they do. They have amazing recipes and creations, and then they work hard, and they do lots of sampling at the shows. I know that, I'm sure if you've been to an Artfest show, you know, you walk around, you can try all kinds of yummy things. We usually have about 4 or 5 gourmet food exhibitors at the Artfest Toronto show. We have more in the Kingston show because it's a bigger event and we're outside. We have more space there to do things. But at the Distillery show, we usually have that many. And I just want to share with you with one of our food exhibitors today is with Carmichael Meats. Here we go. I'll share my screen with you again. This is another family business, and these guys are really popular at the shows. They have a huge variety of different flavors and spices and things. And I know they have a special on actually right now for our event too. So if you spend $100, you get some free salami sticks, I believe. So you can go to our website at artfestontario.com in the blog post. You can find them on there. Carmichael Meats, here's their website. I love their logo too. This really represents, you know, a traditional way of producing handcrafted, and there's a whole family business. So hope we can, and we're missing our samples this year, this time, but hopefully next time we're out, you can stop by and get some of those or order on their website. There we go. So as you know, Artfest produces 4 events every year, 2 in Toronto at the Distillery District, but we also do 2 in Kingston. Many of you may already know that, but I just want to tell you a little bit about Artfest Kingston. So Artfest Kingston's coming up July 1st to 4th, normally on Canada Day weekend. It's our biggest event. We take over City Park, and we have over 200 artists at that event. And we have a lot of other fun things too. We have live music, have a full stage there. We've got the First Nations Art Pavilion, Jay Redbird Indigenous Arts Pavilion there. We've got a really robust children's art program. that Sabrina usually runs there. It's really fun. Kids come and they build things and they play, and we have a whole section set up for them to do that. We have a poetry feature. So we have like the poetry tent. And we started this, I guess this is our 5th year with a poetry, maybe 5th or 6th. But when the idea was first presented to me to have a poetry feature there, I was like, oh, okay, I wasn't sure how it would work, but Bruce Kaufman brought the concept forward, and I said, okay, let's try it out. And it's turned out to be a huge hit at the show. We've been a big feature. We have poets traveling from all over Ontario and Quebec to come in to the event. They do live poetry readings. They sell their books. And Bruce always runs a poetry workshops as well. It's been really popular. And I guess it was 2015, we did, I remember it was Canada's birthday, 150th birthday, big year. Artfest celebrated in a big way in Kingston. And we actually produced a Artfest Kingston poetry book for the event. So Bruce invited poets to contribute a poem about Kingston and what they love about the city. And we thought, what we love about Canada. So that's what we did, and we sold the poetry books at the event. Now we have a few copies left, I think. You can get them on our website, artfestontario.com. But it was a lot of fun, and what a unique project, and what a great celebration for celebrating Canada's 150th birthday. So Kingston's been, like I said, is a bigger event. I'm going to take you over to our Artfest Kingston tab here. I'll share some stuff with you there, just so you can get a sense of it. Hang on here. There we go, share. So here's the Artfest Kingston. Got an amazing little gallery here of some of the stuff that we do. We had a lot of fun there, and people love the festival. They could travel from all over to come to it, not just Kingston, but they travel from New York State, they come from Ottawa, they come from Toronto. It's one of the, the favorite festivals of the summer, one of the biggest outdoor festivals of the summer as well. And I didn't mention, one of the things that we did is with the mural project. So we had this idea to we created a 100-foot mural in City Park. We build it there every year, and the public basically creates the mural. So Arthur too is our artist here. Here's Arthur here. I can just see him sitting in front of the mural, and people paint on it all weekend, and he orchestrates it. He makes it all work. People don't just go up and throw paint on it. No, has a plan, and you add colors. I just go up here and get another picture of it. Here's an example here. This year, with this special year we did here, we had made extra cutout pieces. We made buildings, and we painted them. We had them on top of the mural. We painted them all on top, and then we pulled them off on the last day of the festival, and installed them in the park. So it made it look like a 3D mural. So it was a lot of fun. And here sometimes we have these giant puppets that we built for the show specifically, and we had a big parade. We had parades. You see lots of kids involved in this show too. Some of the artists here. We have dancing, a whole dancing troupe that comes as live dancing. We have circus arts at that show. Here's the First Nations Art Pavilion here. Here's Jay Redburn and Helena there. That was the first year we tried that. That's been a huge success too. Like, we started that idea off with wanting to have a strong First Nations artist presence in our event, and we weren't really getting it to take hold. So we decided to set up a really big tent and invite First Nations artists to come and show their work, and it's been really popular, and beautiful, beautiful art. They share their art, their poetry, their music, some of their dancing and their stories, and it's been a really, really, really fun thing. So we're getting ready for Artfest Kingston now, you know, as you know, we are going to be not having the show there at this point. We're going to be, let me just get my camera on here. We're going to be doing an online event. So right now we're working like crazy. Oh, just a sec here, I've got 2 messages. Working like crazy, getting ready for this event. So this, you know, the first 8 days, we're doing 8 days for the May show. As I said, I'm a host and training kind of idea, and learning what works, and wanted to hear from our audience what they like, what they would like to see. Any kind of ideas, we're open and asking for people to share their information. So please email us in or share it on Facebook. Share it in our Q&A. You can put it right in the Q&A on this Zoom show if you're watching through Zoom. But so we're going to be, you know, having all those things. We're going to be having a poetry feature. We're going to be having a First Nations feature day. We're going to be having live music. We're going to be featuring the artists at the show. And the artists are excited about it. We're looking for ways to connect with our audience. If people come to the event and they shop like crazy with the artists, and we want our online audience to do the same thing, so we can carry on with our livelihoods as artists and as show producers as well. It's very, very important. Nothing makes an artist happier than, like I've said every day, than getting an online sale. So, and if you're not comfortable with that yet, go and give them a call. Say, hey, I like what you do. You know, how do I go about doing this? I'm scared to buy online, or I'm not sure how, or just phone them and ask. They'll step you through the process or make another plan. And some of the bigger pieces, you know, like if you have a painting, you know, you want to, I know with Selena, for example, has a feature that she can actually place the painting so it looks like it's in your living room. You can actually see what it looks like. So that's pretty neat. Same what you can do. So many great virtual tools that you can use these days with the internet. Thank God we have the internet right now, because other than that, you know, if we didn't have that, I think we'd be going pretty crazy. Sure has provided us a lot of entertainment and ways to communicate and connect with our audience. It's been great here today. I've got 3 minutes left. I'm going to just take you quickly over to show one more artist here in our share screen. Robert made it. Robert makes beautiful, unbelievable cutting boards. Just rock solid hardwood. And I don't know if you understand with the difference between the end grain and the non-end grain, but the end grain hardwood makes it really, really hard and tough. If you just take a piece of pine, you could take a knife and slice it, or make a mark. But when you use the end grain, you can see it here. I don't know if I can get this any bigger. Oh, it doesn't look like I can. But you can see it there with the lines there. It means basically it's pretty much indestructible. You can cut on these. I know they're beautiful. You think, oh, I don't want to cut on it. But look at the patterns. Every single piece of those colors is a piece of wood. And here we got all kinds of fun colors. Like you've got the yellow actually I believe is like a yellow, I think it's called a yellow Paduke. I might be wrong. You got maple, you've got cherry, you got ebony, you got walnut. You got purple heart. This is purple heart. I think this deep purple stuff here. All these woods put together, and all of them are glued together and glued together and put with big clamps, and then sanded and sanded and sanded and sanded. It's quite a process. He has fun too, doing things like, you know, here's flags. He's done polka dots, pianos. He's built a piano, a cutting board. What a great gift for someone who is a piano player or a jazz musician in your life. Yeah, this is Robert made it, and you can go to his website here. But Robert's another one of our favorite. Oh, sorry about that. Go back. Looks like hasn't got his website going. but I'm sure that Robert, you can contact Robert and you can order whatever you want to do. So yeah, Robert's one of our favorite exhibitors. Not that, I mean, they're all my favorites, to be honest, our favorites. I shouldn't sound like I'm playing favorites. I'm not. He's just a lot of fun. He's a real character, and he's always up for anything we're doing at Artfest, and very, very nice man. I have a cutting board and in my kitchen. And you know, one thing you have to do though, he'll tell you when you get your cutting board, you have to coat it with a little bit of a beeswax every now and then, and just polish it up. And that basically feeds the wood, maintains it, preserves it, makes it safe to keep using. And I've had mine for years, and boy, I love it. I use it every day to make dinner. So thank you, Robert. Well, that ends our show for today. Thank you for joining us so much. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you love some of our features. Thanks to Miko Henry and Lil Tree Me for coming on and doing an interview. It was great. Nice to share your stories and see what you're up to. And we'll see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. We'll be on again live. Take care. Bye. ArtfestOntario.com. I'm Laurie McDonald. See ya.